This is ITV1. Our programmes are running approximately 25 minutes later than scheduled.
Formula One on ITV, sponsored by Toyota.
They love their motor racing in Brazil, but there hasn't been a home winner since Ayrton Senna 10 years ago. Now the fans are convinced that Rubens Barrichello will deliver. Hello there, welcome to the highlights of the Grand Prix at Interlagos. Now, every year, Barrichello is the focus of his country's attention, and he's tended to wither in that spotlight. This time round, he went to his native Sao Paulo, promising a new, improved Rubino. In qualifying too, he gave the fans plenty to celebrate. There's a much drier surface following Friday's skid pan fiasco in which Jenson Button demolished the scenery, travelling at over 150 miles an hour. Button first out in the deciding session after failing to record a time. Despite slowing in the tricky second sector, that is very respectable. Montoya, possibly carrying a lot of fuel, goes marginally quicker in the Williams. Fisichella gives Jordan some optimism at the team's 200th Grand Prix. Jordan, though, still searching for their first points. Ralf Schumacher's been struggling with a new one-hit qualifying system. He does enough to put the much-changed Williams on the third row. Have Renault got something up their sleeves again? Trulli, up front in Malaysia, delivers a clean lap and breaks into the 113s as the track quickens. But Michael Schumacher, in his last outing in the 2002 Ferrari, is off the pace. He starts 7th, his lowest grid slot since the German Grand Prix way back in 1998. Then a super lap from David Coulthard, unhappy at having to race in the wet on Friday. Coulthard quick and totally committed. Malaysian winner Raikkonen pays for clipping the curb. That's the 5th successive race he's been out-qualified by his teammate Coulthard. Enter Barrichello, roared on by his fans, the Paulistas. It's his first home pole, but beware. Only 8 out of 30 Brazilian Grand Prix have been won by the pole-sitter, and Barrichello has retired from the last 8. A final flourish from Jaguar and Mark Webber, almost spoiling the Brazilian Samba, but not quite. Third is Webber's and Jaguar's best. So Barrichello and Coulthard up front, then Webber and Raikkonen, Trulli ahead of the Schumachers, Fisichella, Montoya with lots of Colombian support, Alonso, Button quicker than Villeneuve, Panis hasn't finished for Toyota yet, Frentzen, best yet for Ralf Furman, the Brazilians Pitsonia and D'Amato well down, but in front of Verstappen and Justin Wilson. Friday's monsoons return. With no full wet tyres available, the start's delayed, with the drivers complaining about aquaplaning and lack of visibility. 4 drivers, Frentzen, Furman, Pitsonia and Verstappen, start from the pit lane. The race begins behind the safety car. After 8 laps, the Brazilian Grand Prix gets into gear.
The tension then building, the samba drums beginning to beat in the grandstands. We're going to get some racing in Interlagos very shortly.
It's good. I hate it when the commentators have to work harder than the drivers, but now they are going to have to work overtime. They're going to have about zero grip into the first corner. It's going to feel like greased ice because their tyres are cold, they're low pressure, everything's cold, and they've not had any warm-up this morning, no exploratory laps. The first time they go through turn 1 at speed is the first time since yesterday afternoon. A real challenge for these Grand Prix drivers.
And look how Rubens Barrichello is bunching up the field. The safety car comes in, the crowd are cheering. Let's get back and have a look at what Rubens is doing, though. He hasn't hit the gas yet. When's he going to hit it? Everybody's waiting. Webber's alongside David Coulthard. They're all waiting to see when Coulthard's going to drop the throttle and Barrichello's going to drop the throttle. Here he goes! Here he goes!
Not a smart thing to do at all, Rubens. That's bunching the pack too much. He should have just taken a sensible run, and now Coulthard might punish him for that down into turn one. And as long as Coulthard doesn't go and lock his brakes, which he hasn't done, Coulthard takes an easy lead then. Barrichello outsmarting himself.
Yep, David Coulthard takes the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix from Rubens Barrichello. And, well, as you say, Martin, it didn't work out for him, that tactic. Mark Webber has managed to maintain third place. Kimi Raikkonen fourth, Trulli fifth, Ralf Schumacher sixth. But look at this, look at Raikkonen attacking Webber, and Webber's attacking Barrichello as Ralf Furman comes in.
They're going to put the same ploy with Furman then, who he believes in the spare car now. New tyres and a tank of fuel. They really should have just queued them up if they're going to do that, and done that before the race got underway. They're going to go a lap down. He's still struggling to get a gear two. There's Barrichello, he's second. Coulthard scampering off into the distance.
Well, Barrichello seemed to not be all that confident with his car, and Webber attacks him down the inside. That's Heidfeld off the racetrack, but it looked to me as though Mark Webber in third place as the Sauber gets a little dusting of... oh, look at that, Raikkonen almost alongside Webber. They touched, I think.
I'm not sure whether it was just a spray coming off as Raikkonen took to the curb, but Barrichello extremely cautious, it has to be said, and that's giving Coulthard the space he wanted, and he's not got any spray in front of him either. And Webber right in there too, look, for Jaguar in third place.
It looks like the Williamses are on the move behind. I think Ralf Schumacher attacking the fifth place man, Renault of Jarno Trulli. So a great scrap going on there in that back bunch behind Raikkonen. Trulli, Ralf Schumacher, Michael Schumacher, and Montoya also on the move as well. Look at Raikkonen though, he's having a go at Barrichello. Can he make it stick?
Can he make it
yes,
stop?
Yes, he can. Oh, nice move. Runs a little bit wide, but he's got track position. Where's Mark Webber gone? Down to fourth.
Yes, Webber is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, actually, for Mark Webber. I think I saw him coming into that corner. So, again, though, we've seen the Michelin wets on the McLaren looking good. And so, too, is the Michelin-shod Williams BMW of Montoya as he takes over the place from Rubens Barrichello. So, Montoya up into third. Coulthard, Raikkonen, Montoya.
Yep, the order, just to bring you up to date, this is lap 10 of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Coulthard leading Barrichello by, leading Raikkonen, but Raikkonen closing right up on Coulthard. Barrichello dropping down the order as well.
Coulthard really lost a lot of time somewhere to Kimi Raikkonen on that lap. Raikkonen appears to be more confident at this stage for whatever reason, just taking meters out of Coulthard.
And Montoya, we believe, has gone up into third place. Look at Raikkonen having a look down the inside of his teammate, but Coulthard resists. Teammates there having a good scrap. The Williams is joining them very quickly indeed. And Montoya having a pretty special start to this Grand Prix. His teammate Ralf Schumacher has dropped back to seventh place. Michael Schumacher has dropped down to eighth.
Coulthard just put a wheel on the white line, lost some traction coming out of the corner. We'll give Raikkonen a good look at him as well. Look at the amount of spray they've got. Remember, they're on intermediate tyres still. And Raikkonen will get a look at the inside of Coulthard. It'll be a brave move, though, against your teammate in these conditions, and he's made it work.
Wow! Kimi Raikkonen puts down a marker for David Coulthard. Coulthard knew he couldn't chop across him. It's his own teammate. What's he supposed to do? Raikkonen forced him into a position where he just had to let him through. But Coulthard's got lost track. Montoya goes around the outside, up onto the wet paint. They're side by side. They almost touch down the back straight. And Coulthard gets out of the throttle. Brave move by Juan Montoya. Has he run wide though, Martin?
No, he'll save that one. So the two leaders then, they've got so much more confidence than anybody else. They're lapping 2 to 3 seconds faster than anybody else on the racetrack. Raikkonen and Montoya, the car's working underneath them. They're feeling good about it. For whatever reason, Coulthard went off at a great pace, but now has lost confidence somewhere.
Let's have another look. There's been an incident here. That's one of the Renaults, and that's Ralf Schumacher, probably Jarno Trulli. They were together in 6th and 7th places. Both of them seem to have resumed, though. A little bit of contact there between those two cars. Here's your race leader, though, the man who won 2 weeks ago in Sepang, Malaysia, Kimi Raikkonen.
Yes, the World Championship leader by 6 points. And car number 4 is off the track. That is Ralf Schumacher. We saw that happen, so Ralf off the track. And Raikkonen coming over to lead the Grand Prix. And look then, Michael Schumacher passing Barrichello too now.
Yeah, Rubens Barrichello was in 4th place. Can't see where Mark Webber's got to. Is he in front of the Barrichello-Schumacher combo, or is he behind them? He was behind Barrichello at the end of the last lap. Hasn't come across the start-finish line yet. There he is. And there are the 2 Ferraris behind him. So Webber had got in front of Barrichello as well. Rubens Barrichello clearly struggling with some kind of problem. That's Fernando Alonso, that's Jenson Button, and that was Jarno Trulli going through. Raikkonen leads on lap 12 then. Let's just take stock. 2nd, Montoya. 3rd, Coulthard. 4th, Webber. 5th, Michael Schumacher. 6th, Barrichello. 7th, Alonso. 8th, Button. 9th, Trulli. 10th, Jacques Villeneuve. And what about this for Justin Wilson? Up 8 places at the start, and he's now up into 12th place.
Yes, and Webber on the move, and so is Michael Schumacher in 5th place too. He's now 6 seconds ahead of Barrichello. And it's not, if your car's hooked up, if you've got the balance, you've got the tyre pressures, you can get away with it. And if you can't, you're totally at sea. But Webber is flying in 4th place and will soon, very soon, be right up behind Coulthard and Montoya, with Michael Schumacher just behind him.
We've had, obviously, quite a few laps under the safety car, but look at this. This is the McLaren of David Coulthard now, finding a bit more grip, finding a bit more speed, and he's getting a run at Montoya. Montoya's had a slow run out of Juncao. Don't know what happened there, but Coulthard just, candy from a baby.
Yeah, you'd have to think that Montoya, slightly different line, but his traction control looked like it was working too much in there at that time, and Coulthard then easily taking 2nd place from Montoya. Once again, Mark Webber and Michael Schumacher in 4th and 5th. There they are in the background, very, very fast. Schumacher now, fastest man on the racetrack. The wise old heads are now beginning to say, OK, now I know where the track's at, let's get going.
And I wonder whether perhaps Montoya might have taken a little bit too much out of his tyres, because our F1 ITV pit crew monitoring Montoya's radio are saying he's saying that his rear tyres are going off, he's losing grip, that's his problem.
Yeah, well, he's going to fall into the clutches of the similarly tired Webber and then Michael Schumacher, who's always in the past been so good in these difficult conditions. Really, that 6th sense of knowing how much grip there's going to be before you get to the corner and not after it. Montoya, look, absolutely struggling at the moment. Webber's going to be all over him like a rash anytime soon. And Coulthard 5 seconds behind Raikkonen now for the McLaren 1-2.
And look at Michael Schumacher. This is where he spun on Friday. Having a look down the inside of Mark Webber. He's obviously got a lot of confidence through that corner now in these wet conditions. Webber's going to really struggle to keep Michael behind him here, I fancy, because Schumacher is on the move, on the attack here at the Brazilian Grand Prix on lap 15. Montoya, they can both sense, is something of a wounded animal. And Schumacher goes alongside Webber. I think Schumacher may well have got Mark Webber.
There's a lot more grip at the inside of Juncao. Coulthard found it to pass Montoya, and I think Michael's found it now. There's so much more grip if you just keep a tight line. And Montoya was going outside and running along the white line, and therefore you can hear the traction control desperately trying to hold up the engine and not spin the rear wheels. So there's a special line out of that last corner that needs to be found.
Fastest man on the racetrack, David Coulthard. Now 4 seconds behind teammate Raikkonen, who leads this Grand Prix. We've got a McLaren 1-2 on the track, as we have in the World Championship. Montoya there, struggling to resist the advances of Michael Schumacher. This is for 3rd place in the Grand Prix. Schumacher 4th, Webber 5th, 6th Barrichello, now 7th Alonso, 8th Button, 9th Trulli, 10th Ralf Schumacher.
And if he has burned his rear tyres a little bit, Montoya, it'll be in the traction zones. The exit of the very slow corners where he hurts. At high speed, the downforce somewhat compensates, but really seriously under pressure, isn't he? But this is where he'll struggle to get that traction, and that's why the Ferrari can slingshot out. Montoya won't yield too easily, but he's having to, because he knows he hasn't got the grip when he gets there. Michael just drives around the outside of him, confident that Montoya wouldn't tag his right rear wheel.
A spinner here, one of the Minardis, Verstappen, getting onto the asphalt there on the runoff area.
It's Wilson.
I beg your pardon.
And he's, according to the computer, he has stopped down there. Did not get go. Yes, indeed. Now we're seeing it out of the replay. Wilson, it appears, spinning out of the race.
It's Verstappen as well who's stopped, I think. Jos Verstappen, car 19, has stopped out in the race. So if that's the case, not a good day, really, for the European Minardi squad, especially for Justin Wilson, who was doing so well, up to 12th place in the early stages of this race. Lap 18 then. Coulthard now just 1.4 seconds behind his teammate Kimi Raikkonen. Michael Schumacher, though, on the move. Look at this, 6.3 seconds behind. That's been a shunt for Olivier Panis in the Toyota. He's ripped the rear wing off it.
down in 17th place, and with the big runoff here as they got here now. Has he been hit from behind? Oh, that's Ralph Furman about to come in and whack the back of him. How did that happen? Did Ralph touch somebody, or did he have a front suspension failure down that straight? And I think it's a front suspension failure. He had that earlier on, didn't he? Was it Melbourne? But what's happened is his front, maybe he's tagged a car earlier in the race, but the front just giving away, breaking like an egg. Safety car has been deployed, and they're pitting.
Yeah.
Coulthard, Michael Schumacher, all pitting.
Yep, smart move. This is lap 19 then of the 71-lap Grand Prix. They were going to be coming in for a pit stop deep into the 20s probably. They're all taking advantage of this.
Straight race then. How will they fuel this Ferrari? Can they get him out in front of Coulthard? They've dropped the front down very quickly. Did not change the tyres from what I could see. And Coulthard gets out and remains in front of Michael Schumacher. They were second and third. Raikkonen electing to carry on.
Yeah, Raikkonen did not pit. Quite a lot of cars coming in now. Montoya, Barrichello, Alonso, Webber, Button, Trulli, Ralf Schumacher, Villeneuve, all in the pits. Before we saw Rubens Barrichello make a mistake when he should drop the throttle and really push this field. Will Kimi Raikkonen make the same mistake? Look, he's seeing if they're all there. He's going to do it on the turn into Young Cow. Coulthard's ready for it. So's Michael Schumacher. Very, very experienced drivers, those two. The less experienced Raikkonen has got a good drive out of Young Cow and up the hill. He's done it again. A very nice restart from Kimi Raikkonen. Damata's done well also in the Toyota. He goes through the frame. Barrichello fifth. They're not allowed to overtake until they cross the start-finish line as they do now. And Damata attacking Barrichello. And look at this. Who's this coming at the inside? Wow! Was that Ralf Schumacher? Montoya it was. Montoya trying to have a go at Barrichello. He came from so far back.
He did indeed. And Barrichello, I would imagine, had to just get out of the way then, otherwise he's going to be taken out. Montoya taking no prisoners whatsoever down into that first turn, and Damata coming under pressure in the sole remaining Toyota from the Ferrari of Rubens Barrichello. He moves up then to fourth place, and Barrichello's back in front of Montoya somehow.
Wow, look at this. Montoya attacking Damata now into the long right-hander. They're side by side. Not traditionally regarded as an overtaking place here at Interlagos, which is one of the tracks on the Grand Prix calendar where it is relatively easy to pass, certainly into turn one. Out the front, though, Kimi Raikkonen. I must remind you that he's not made a pit stop for fuel and tyres. Look at Michael Schumacher attacking David Coulthard. Both of these two guys have made pit stops, and they will be thinking now that the race really is between them, because Raikkonen's going to have to pit sometime in the not-too-distant future. Yes,
Raikkonen's going to have to get on with it now, because the two guys behind him have a pit stop in their pocket over him. He hasn't stopped, so he will pull away from them because they're running a lot more fuel. Coulthard electing to run that wider line through Young Cow. He's still getting enough traction, but surely they looked like there was more grip on the inside there, certainly earlier in the Grand Prix. And good straight line speed for the Mercedes-Benz then of Coulthard, and he pulled away from Michael Schumacher. So McLaren 1-2, Ferrari 3-4. I don't really understand what happened to Montoya.
Well, he's currently right behind Cristiano Damata in 6th place, Damata 5th. 7th is Pitsonia and the Jaguar, ahead of his teammate now, Mark Webber. Pitsonia has not pitted, though. Mark Webber has. So clearly in that little battle, Webber looking better than Pitsonia. Jenson Button is in 9th place. He's pitted. So has Ralf Schumacher, who's 10th. Verstappen is 11th. He has not pitted. Fisichella has. So has Villeneuve. Alonso, we heard about his mix-up. He's had to make 2 pit stops. And Trulli and Frentzen, the only runners still. 16 cars on this 24th lap of the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Oh, big accident.
Montoya and Pitsonia. It looks like Montoya on the left in the BMW Williams, Pitsonia on the right. Here's what happened, Martin.
Yes, and got away from Pitsonia, aquaplaned, and I've got a feeling that Montoya's just going to have his own accident. No, he's already gone off. So Montoya, they both aquaplaned on the same. That's what I was just talking about in turn 3. And there's just new water coming from somewhere, James.
Yep, there is. It must be coming out of some drainage hole or something somewhere. It's certainly a downhill section. The bit where we are at the moment on the pit straight is above that. And clearly water pouring out onto the track, and those two caught out by it.
Well, the other drivers will be lucky in a way, because hopefully the teams are radioing them saying, mind turn 3, be careful in turn 3, but now, of course, there'll also be a lot of waved yellows. But if you back off with too much speed, you lose downforce, and you're more likely to aquaplane and join the party in the hedge.
Well, Kimi Raikkonen is not getting away from his pursuers. Just 1.7 seconds now ahead of Coulthard, with Michael Schumacher right behind the Scotsman, and Rubens Barrichello in the second Ferrari also looking very strong. At the moment, you'd have to say there's not much to choose between the two types of tyre. The Bridgestone on the Ferrari is looking pretty good. So's the Michelin on the two McLarens. And Kimi Raikkonen will be ruining that decision not to come in for a pit stop when the safety car came out, because at the moment it looks as though it might be likely to cost him a race win here. The race, you have to say, at the moment is between Coulthard, Michael Schumacher and Barrichello, this second, third and fourth battle. 46 laps to go here. There's what tension, unbelievable Grand Prix. This is the battle then at the front, the top 4 in the order you can see. There's a superb scrap as well going on for 6th place between Mark Webber and Ralf Schumacher in the BMW Williams. Louise, what can you tell us?
Drivers already probably having problems with standing water. I think they're about to get a bit more. There's the first few spots of rain just coming down.
Michael Schumacher has crashed, sorry Louise, but as Martin spotted, Michael Schumacher's gone straight on in the same place as Pitsonia. Is it? Yes. Yes, there's where Montoya's car, that's Pissonia's car. Schumacher's made the same mistake.
Yeah, they need to get out of there ASAP, because others can well go in there. Look, and Michael, that's what I was telling you about. It's fine one lap, the next lap is a fraction more water, and it's good night. Safety car is out again. They're having to they'll get in there and try somehow to clear some of that water, but that water's coming from another source.
This gives Kimi Raikkonen the chance to make the pit stop he didn't do first time round, and exactly as you were saying just a moment ago, there's still a long way to go, still a lot of mistakes to happen, but this time it won't work out quite so well for Raikkonen.
Yeah, just caught up with Justin Wilson. Justin, that water at turn 3 caught you out. It's obviously catching a few other people out as well. What's the situation there?
Well, there's a river that runs across the circuit. It's running down off the grass banking, and it's changing every lap, so it makes it very difficult to get round.
Is it just a solid stream of water coming across?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, where it's positioned seems to be slightly different each lap, and sometimes it's the first river that's quite bad, and sometimes it's the second one, so that's what caught me up.
Thanks, Justin.
There's the safety car going into the pit lane. He's safely off the racetrack. David Coulthard then will bring them round on lap 29 of 71. And what a great restart he's had. And it's Barrichello who's under pressure now for Ralf Schumacher, who goes around the outside. What a move by Ralf Schumacher. Oh, but Rubens is back again on the outside, side by side, into the danger zone. This is where all the water is. They both safely through it. Mark Webber watching it all from behind in 4th place. And now Webber is attacking the back of Ralf Schumacher. What a restart.
Some brave moves going on down there into turn 1. It's great there because it's wide piece of track and there's equal grip all the way across the track. So it's worth having a go. Inside, outside, you really can't defend your line. And Ralf Schumacher, having had a bit of a nothing weekend, suddenly sees a great opportunity.
Yep, he's 3rd now. He's on a podium position. We want to talk about great opportunities. Let's talk about this Jaguar. Mark Webber, fastest in the wet qualifying session on Friday, as Ralf Schumacher has another go at Barrichello, and now he finds himself here in 4th place in the Jaguar. He could get any kind of result here this afternoon.
Yeah, he's a genuine front runner this weekend. The Jaguar and Mark Webber has been a great combination, and well, let's hope he can make it pay off with some World Championship points there first of the year. Webber right in the hunt, and he'll be loving it.
And that is Jos Verstappen, who this time definitely is retiring from the race.
And we couldn't really see. It's the famous puddle at turn 3 again, isn't it? And so that's claimed then 2 Minardis, the Williams of Montoya, Pizzonia's Jaguar, and the great Michael Schumacher.
Well, we haven't been able to see very much in-car footage today, presumably because the helicopter, which relays the pictures, has not really been able to fly. Oh, and that's Button. He was in a promising position, 5th he was, and he's gone off now. Is that the same place?
Yep. He's gone off further round, though, and then he put some opposite lock in. That was a big accident. Safety car's on standby, but Button was further round turn 3, corrected the slide, and then, unfortunately, the front tyres did bite, and bang! Straight to the scene of the accident. I'm pretty sure he'll be just fine because the tyres did a good job of slowing him down. Safety car is out again for the 4th time this afternoon. Ted.
Martin, I've come down to the inside of turn 3. What it is, I don't think you can see it on the camera angle that they're providing. It's a big amphitheatre of a semicircle of grass bank. That's on the outside of the corner. And there are 2 or 3 drainage ditch ditches, pouring the water under the arm cone onto the track. The problem is, where the rivers are coming onto the track, it's precisely the point at which the drivers are nailing the throttle to get good traction for the main straight.
Yes, it really has been a bit of a lottery, though. If it can catch out Michael Schumacher with just a river of water coming out, it couldn't catch anybody. Look at this, though. This is Raikkonen attacking Alonso, side by side. Look how the car's bouncing as he tries to get the brakes on, and he's done it. A very clean move for position by Kimi Raikkonen. He's now up into 4th place, and he's got more fuel on board than the cars in front. Look how Ralf Schumacher is struggling to control that Williams. Raikkonen got a better drive through 3. He's going to be able to take the BMW Williams. They almost touch as they go down the straight. Ralph's on the right, Kimi's on the left. Ralf keeps his foot in it. Kimi tries the outside line. Can he keep it round? Yes! What a move! What a driver this guy is. I mean, what can you say? He's only 23. He's won his first Grand Prix already, and he just doesn't fear anybody or anything.
No, that was spectacular, and it's like, I don't care what you do, I'm going to go a little bit faster. You go inside if you want. You take the racing line. I'll take the outside line then. And Raikkonen then spectacularly taking the place from Ralf Schumacher, and immediately will start turning his attentions to Barrichello just up the road.
Drive-through penalty then for car number 8, overtaking under yellow flags. That was what the incident was.
Tell you where I bet that was, James. Bit of a guess, but I bet he overtook somebody before he passed the start-finish line behind the safety car. You're not allowed to pass till you've crossed the start-finish line, and I don't know if 21-year-olds read the rule book properly.
Well, they've got teams to tell them as well, but yes, it's quite possible, isn't it? Look at Rubens, though. He's getting closer now to the back of David Coulthard, and one senses an attack coming here from the Ferrari driver. 29 laps to go here at Interlagos. Anyone could win this race, but Rubens is on the move.
Yeah, Coulthard really struggling now with grip. In comes Alonso for the drive-through. Coulthard felt the need then to already go defensive. He knows he's beginning to struggle compared to Rubens Barrichello, but they're still pulling away from the rest of the field. Sort of 2.5 seconds a lap, these leading pair. They are absolutely hooked up.
It's been a chaotic race, no question about it. Oh, that's Webber. He spun it. Same place as everyone else. Can he rescue? Yes, he can. Well, he's done something no one else managed to do, and he's still in the Grand Prix.
Save of the day then for Mark Webber. That was amazing. Looked like he was on his surfboard in Bondi Beach, didn't he? Hooked it all up and just carried on. Nicely done.
Best save since Gordon Banks. Fantastic. So, lap 44. Look at this battle here at the lead, for the lead between Barrichello and Coulthard. This time round, Barrichello not quite so close to David Coulthard. And he's made a mistake, and Barrichello's through into the lead. Listen to the crowd. Fantastic performance. Looks to me like there's more water coming out on that track as well, down there outside of turn 3.
Rubens takes a wider, higher line, and the crowd don't like that very much, do they? The boy who grew up 2 streets away from this racetrack now leads the Grand Prix, and I'm sure McLaren anytime soon are going to be bringing Coulthard in for a set of tyres, because he's really been struggling for a few laps now to hook the front of the car up. He's burned the front tyres out, and their pace still remains quite sensational compared to the others. And look, drifted in, maybe just snatched a front wheel under braking and couldn't get the nose of the car into the corner. Barrichello says, thank you very much, I'll have a bit of that.
What do you think caused that then? Was it just a little misjudgment on the brakes, or...?
There's a bit of that, but as your front tyres go, it's much easier to lock them as well as they start giving up grip. But you could see he's been hanging on. Barrichello had the faster car, the faster line, whatever it was. And Coulthard then, Barrichello scampers away with a stunning middle sector, much faster than anybody else has been all day. Crosses the line in the lead of the Grand Prix. Barrichello has been released and is off.
Indeed he is, and already half a second faster than he was on the lap before. He's being lifted by the crowd. He feels their support. He wants to win here more badly than he's ever wanted anything else in his life, probably. And if he can just keep it going, this is lap 46 of 71. What a hero he's going to be in Sao Paulo, Brazil. He's slowing Rubens Barrichello. I don't believe it. He's retired here 8 years in a row. He was leading here last year and this happened. Coulthard goes past him. Raikkonen goes past him. Ralf Schumacher goes past him. And you hear that thump. That's thousands of hearts in Sao Paulo in the grandstands hitting the floor. Rubinho is out of the race. Oh, my goodness.
No. Nobody could be that unlucky.
Both Ferraris out of the race then. No one could or should be that unlucky. What can you say? That's the 9th straight year he's retired here, and he had it won.
Yeah, and if I was him, I'd get out of there. It seems to be safer on the racetrack today than on the grass. The number of cars have been flying across the grass. And Rubens Barrichello, well, you can't say anything. There's nothing to be said. The guy was driving beautifully. He had the car where he needed it, scampering off into the distance, and it just evaporates.
Well, you have to go back some way for the last time that a Ferrari didn't finish the Grand Prix. But lap 48, David Coulthard now will be feeling relatively comfortable, I would think. Kimi Raikkonen is his nearest challenger, and he's a full 15 seconds behind.
Yeah, but he's way quicker than the rest of the field still, and it's this 38 minutes of this race remaining, James, with, 24 laps, so it's going to be nip and tuck, isn't it, of whether it runs out of time or runs out of laps.
Yes, that's certainly going to be an issue, no question about that. Coulthard, too, is going to have to make a pit stop before too long. He put in 6.7 seconds worth of fuel on lap 19. We've had a couple of safety cars, and, well, if a picture could paint 1,000 words, then what would Rubinho be saying? No one dares approach him.
He's such a nice bloke as well. He's such a genuine, proper bloke that, you know, he just... the emotions must be going through his head now, and what have I got to do? What have I done wrong? Who have I upset in another life?
Trulli and Frentzen, look at this. This is a scrap for 5th place. You saw Villeneuve get a mighty slide on there through the left-hander leading out of the back straight, and these three right together, 5th, 6th and 7th, Frentzen, Trulli, Villeneuve. That's a fantastic scrap going on. They're about a half a minute behind race leader David Coulthard, and these conditions not getting any easier at all. The tyres, as you say, Martin, wearing away, and this is a very difficult time to be on the racetrack.
Yes, if you've got fresh tyres, then you've got a much better chance of getting through turn 3 there. So we've got 10 runners then, and of course points-paying positions for the first 8. So that's why it's rather frantic. Ralf Schumacher's now back in 9th, D'Amato 10th. So a great opportunity for World Championship points today for Jaguar, Jordan, and Toyota maybe not.
Certainly Sauber with Frentzen in 5th place at the moment if he can stay there. But I tell you, the man to watch at the moment is Mark Webber. That last lap was his fastest of the race so far. The fuel load that he put on is starting to wear off, and his performance already this weekend has been fantastic. He's trying to catch these guys. Look at Villeneuve sliding the car everywhere as D'Amato gets out of the way for these guys, and Villeneuve's trying pretty hard as well. But Webber is trying to catch onto the tail of this scrap.
Raikkonen has now speeded back up again. He's now closing the deficit to David Coulthard. And look, Villeneuve trying and looking. We've seen so many cars passed on the outside, the inside, everywhere. Villeneuve up on the curbs, he'll lose a lot of traction. And watch the Renault just pull away from him. You cannot run the curbs in these conditions. You can't always help it. Fisichella is pushing hard as well. He's just done his fastest lap of the race, and he's pushing Raikkonen along, and they're catching race leader David Coulthard.
Meanwhile, Mark Webber took 2.5 seconds out of that bunch on that lap, so he is closing right in. There he is at the top of your screens. He's just going to dispatch Cristiano D'Amato, the back marker. He'll get out of his way, and then Webber will be joining that scrap too. It'll be a 4-way battle for 5th place. So, on lap 52, McLaren are getting ready then for a pit stop. We presume it's going to be for David Coulthard. Certainly, fuel-wise, he's ready for it, and tyre-wise, he's desperate for it.
Yes, I think Coulthard's going to have to go and take this race today. Although he's got an 18.4 second lead, we've seen him really struggling with grip for probably 10 laps now. They want, we've got 20 laps to go, 19 at the end of this lap. The race leader, we're pretty sure, is going to pit, and indeed he does. Look at the water standing in the entry of the pit lane. Coulthard then has got to get it slowed down, just. Hope he didn't go over that white line speeding, otherwise he'll get a penalty. And Coulthard comes into the pit lane. He needs a super quick stop.
He does. The target here is to get back out in front of Fernando Alonso. Kimi Raikkonen's going to pass him. I think Fisichella will as well. Ted.
It's all going very, very, very well for David Coulthard. Wet tyres go on again. Now he's away. I can just tell you very quickly that I've been to Ferrari again, and they say that it was a complete shutdown of the car. They won't know what the problem was until they get the actual car back to the pits. The telemetry showed nothing.
Fisichella then, look, he's now up into 2nd place behind Raikkonen. Just the small, it was 0.8 of a second as they passed the start-finish line. And there comes Coulthard out behind Alonso. So he is 4th, but he's got the fresh tyres and he's got enough fuel to get to the end.
Here we go, Fisichella takes the lead. What a move! What happened to Raikkonen?
He just got the same with Coulthard earlier on. He just got a terminal understeer, and I'm sure they're burning out those front Michelins, and Fisichella leads the Grand Prix. Raikkonen will surely have to stop for some tyres.
Well, yes, and in he comes. Is he coming in? No, he's not. It's very deceptive, that pit lane entry line. So here we see again what happened to Kimi Raikkonen. Just got a twitch on, you see. Yeah,
got a twitch on, steered out of it. Actually, I was wrong. It wasn't understeer. It was actually a little bit of oversteer just on that nasty bump into Mergullo. It looked like understeer on the exit, but actually it was just him having to steer into the slide.
So if you wanted proof that the Bridgestone is the tyre to be on right now, take a look at Jacques Villeneuve in 6th place. He's just done the fastest first sector of the race so far. His best lap of the race so far in a 1:22.7. He's beginning to come into frame, and that's a big shunt for Mark Webber. It looks like he's okay, though, but he's taken half the car off.
Is that in the pit straight? It is in the pit straight, and it will be an enormous accident then, because that's something like 150 miles an hour. It's the back end of the Jaguar's got away from him. Safety car out, of course, and this will play into the hands of anybody who's yet to stop for fuel, because there's so much debris. Raikkonen comes in the pits.
Yep, Raikkonen's going to change those tyres. We don't know whether he needed to take fuel, but certainly he... yep, Fisichella coming in as well, the race leader for Jordan. Looks like the Jordan team are beginning... Well, I haven't seen actually the Jordan team getting ready out there. Not sure that's the case, but certainly McLaren are ready for Raikkonen. That was a nasty shunt, wasn't it?
So who's going to lead this Grand Prix then? Fisichella and Raikkonen, we think, are stopping. They've got to find their way through this mess somehow. There's the race leader. And there's Mark Webber, who's done such a great job this weekend. Back end of the car getting away from him. I don't really understand why at this stage of the Grand Prix, in torrential rain or a lot of water standing. Oh, and we've got another car
Alonso.
off. We think Alonso's come round and probably found
race stopped.
Red flag. Race has stopped. Alonso, he's obviously come through there and either lost the car in the same place or suddenly realised there was a big incident and hit the brakes.
And I believe we're past three-quarter race distance, lap 55, in which case we may well be declaring a result here. We need to calculate that for you, but
and it'll go back.
Yes,
it'll go back
certainly.
One lap. So
Martin, I have to interrupt you because the Jordan team are bouncing up and down in the pit lane. We're looking at the images there of that incident of Alonso. Debris all over the track. As far as the Jordan team are concerned, this race is over and they have won it. Now the result is calculated, Martin. There's Alonso, you can see, just been winded in that incident at the least, hasn't he?
It was a horrible accident. He came through the corner and found all the debris on the racetrack. I'm surprised that he didn't see some yellow flags or something. Surprised the team maybe hadn't radioed him and just had to avoid it and went into a very nasty accident. He's limping away, and that's super high-speed stuff and nowhere to go up there. And Alonso choosing to sit down at this stage and collect a bit of oxygen in his lungs, I'd imagine. And you can see the front wing of his car sitting there. But they do a count back. We'll have to see what the count back is to the last complete lap. So was it Raikkonen or was it Fisichella?
Yeah, what lap did Fisichella pass Raikkonen? Oh!
Nasty. He hit the stationary tyre, of course, and terrible accident there for Fernando Alonso. I just cannot believe, with flags and radio, he wasn't aware that that was all situated on the high part of the racetrack here.
He's taken a big hit there, hasn't he? No, that was a very, very nasty accident for Fernando Alonso. Let's hope he's okay. He's sitting down, and you can see the medics have got to him very swiftly. So, well, we came on the air saying, how could we possibly explain to you the circumstances that had led up to this Grand Prix? But it'll take some time to pick the bones out of this one. There's Kimi Raikkonen. You can see he's got new tyres on that car. We're waiting to see whether or not we are going to restart it. Certainly, if we're more than 75% of the way through the race, then that would be a result. And I think we are more than 75% of the way through this 71-lap Grand Prix. And those pictures tell their own story. That is the Jordan team. In the foreground there is Nessie, one of the truckies who joined that team from Arrows, and he's obviously been a good luck talisman for them. That's Alonso there, just getting treatment.
And that's a Jordan on fire in the pit lane.
It's Fisichella, of course. The car's on fire. The race-winning car in Parc Fermé has caught fire. Well, if ever you wanted a bizarre day, this is surely it. Well, we hope that Fernando Alonso's okay. There's the FIA medical staff just attending to him. That's Jarno Trulli there, who's got his car back to the start-finish line. He's as confused, I think, as everybody around him about what's been going on, and clearly concerned also he will be for his teammate Fernando Alonso. They're very good friends, these two. So it's going to have a rather bizarre scenario here where the man on the podium is not going to be there. Fernando Alonso is in the back of an ambulance at the moment. He's been classified third again, as he was in Malaysia a couple of weeks ago, but he's currently in the back of an ambulance on a stretcher, so he will not be on the podium, I don't believe.
How sick is David Coulthard going to be feeling? He was leading the race by 20 seconds, pitted the lap before for a scheduled stop, and 1 or 2 more laps into the race, and he'd had it won easily, but he didn't. He had to pit, and that's when the accident happened.
So Jordan jumping up and down, McLaren there thinking about it pretty hard, and look, the result has gone to Raikkonen in the end on the count back. So Kimi Raikkonen wins the Brazilian Grand Prix, his second Grand Prix win in succession ahead of Giancarlo Fisichella. Explain that one, Martin.
It's tough. The rules are ambiguous. One rule says that it's when the leading car last crossed the line, but there's another regulation that has 3 different cases of the race finishing, and it then says there will be a 2-lap countback. We've seen this in other formulas. It's been in Formula 1. I can't really explain why it's 2 laps, why it's not just the 1 lap, but in any event, Jordan thought they'd won the Grand Prix. Ron Dennis wasn't sure, but felt that McLaren may have won it. And indeed, Raikkonen takes his second consecutive victory.
It's been an astonishing day here at Interlagos then. Kimi Raikkonen on the podium for the second race running. A philosophical Giancarlo Fisichella. Alonso not up there, but let's hope he's okay.
And you're back with us, reflecting on a very dramatic Brazilian Grand Prix. Jordan briefly celebrating a win for Giancarlo Fisichella, but Kimi Raikkonen claiming a 3rd successive victory for McLaren. What a season they are having. Fisichella, poor lad, still hasn't won a Grand Prix. Alonso injured and unable to stand on the podium after a horrible smash. David Coulthard, 4th, good day's work. Then Frentzen, Villeneuve. Mark Webber gets 2 points after a great weekend, and Jarno Trulli 8th.
I don't know. Now afterwards, it was good decision that we didn't come in on the first safety car, and things went quite well whole race. But then, of course, I don't know. Maybe we were a little bit lucky, but in the end, win is win always, and that's only what matters.
When I stopped, they said, you won. It was a fantastic moment, but unfortunately, just for a couple of minutes.
I have to say that, I mean, it is nice to see the two of you talking about this.
I still hate him, you know.
But it must be a big disappointment. OK, you're still on the podium, but disappointment nonetheless.
Disappointed for Giancarlo more and the team, because it was a kind of it was a fabulously exciting race. There was a lot of incident. We were very lucky with the fuel strategy and a couple of things. So the team and Gary here, it was fantastic.
Clearly I'm disappointed not to win because I led a lot of the laps. Rubens can be disappointed because his car let him down. And the way the count back works, you know, that's where I end up. So, you know, team clearly happy to have had 3 wins, but it's not what I would have wanted.
It's a bad feeling, really bad feeling, because it's. What else could I do? I mean, I was on a light down first. It was a little bit tricky to begin with. I was taking care. I remember all the past that I had here, which was difficult. I said, okay, just keep it going, keep it calm. You're gonna be there at the time. So I was leading again, and you know the car stopped. So it's very frustrating.
If you follow somebody, you're sort of sitting in the spray, and it is very difficult to see exactly where you go. And if you go like 20 centimeters off that line, which the guy in front of you puts on, you're in trouble.
It's not the way we wanted to get our first 2 points, but it's a positive weekend for Jaguar. We've had some good sessions and some good information this weekend. Could have been better because we didn't have to stop again. The strategy was pretty good, but it's motor racing at its best today, and you know, you've got to take the rough with the smooth, and we'll be back.
And so Kimi Raikkonen goes 11 points clear. Coulthard staying second. Alonso just a point behind, and then Trulli, Montoya, Fisichella and Barrichello in a gang of 3 above the world champion. McLaren's 3 wins, a 3rd and a 4th. They're well ahead of the buoyant Renault team. For the first time in 56 races, Ferrari failing to score. So do Williams, but Fisichella's 8 points, lifting Jordan level with Sauber and above BAR and Jaguar. Tony Jardine, was it too dangerous to start this race?
No, because they did the right thing. They started behind the safety car, but obviously the rivers of water floating down made it very treacherous indeed, and you had to pick your path. You were either lucky or unlucky today, and the show went on, and I think quite rightly so. And there's some very, very brave drivers out there. Started under a safety car, 4 further safety cars, and look at this in the Curva del Sol. This was a Formula One scrapyard in the end. Sonia goes off, and Juan Pablo Montoya is already there, gone off on one of the rivers of water, and even the rain master himself, multiple world champion, Michael Schumacher. Well, if he goes off there, I can follow too. And then goes the second Minardi. Jos Verstappen's down there. Bad accident for Jenson Button. He got front-end grip. Then it went away again, steered him straight into the wall, and he had been up to 5th place at the time.
It goes without saying these drivers are extraordinarily brave human beings, and Kimi Raikkonen has got a very big heart, hasn't he?
Brave and very, very talented. This is why Ron Dennis selected him over Nick Heidfeld when he took him from Sauber. Just look at this great, brave overtaking manoeuvre. Inside 21-year-old Fernando Alonso, but not content with that. He's got great power through the centre S. He sees Ralf Schumacher in front of him, fishtailing the rear end of the car, getting out of shape, tucks right underneath his rear wing, millimetres away, slingshots out, but round the outside. Now look, there's the racing line. On the inside, there's the dry part. He's in the wet, damp part. He touches the curb. Sensationally brave and talented, and he's leading the World Championship.
So Michael Schumacher out. We thought Barrichello would at last win in Sao Paulo. Not to be, though.
What a jinx. I think it's horrendous. You know, 4th place he had in 1994, and really the race was coming to him, and I thought that this was his time then, but not to be. Last year, hydraulics. The year before that, a crash. The year before that, gearbox, engine, a succession. It is hard for him to believe. How can that man cope? He's probably thinking, I'll just forget the Brazilian Grand Prix in the future.
Rubens walking home again. Just explain the circumstances that denied Giancarlo Fisichella and Jordan that victory.
I think they miscalculated on the countback, because what happens is when the red flag comes out, they calculate from the previous lap what the order was on the track, and at that time Kimi Raikkonen was in the lead. Obviously they'll be excused for at the time getting very, very excited because he'd got into the lead. He went streaking away. Kimi had problems. Their 200th Grand Prix. He's had 5 second places up to now, and suddenly he's getting this fairy tale win. And Jordan, short of money, you know, they've done everything to keep that team going. And there he is celebrating, but not to be, but still a 2nd place, so great for the team.
We'll remember Brazil for some horrible accidents involving Fernando Alonso and Mark Webber.
Mark Webber, for me, was my man of the whole weekend and man of the race because he did such a great job with Jaguar. And then to hit like he did, 160 miles an hour, coming through the final bend there, into the unyielding concrete, no runoff areas here, and the car spinning away, ending up on the barrier on the inside. It's a big, big hit. But look at the debris on the track. Now, here's the mystery. People are slowing down. They've got the signals, listened to the radio, seen the flags. Fernando, the 21-year-old, comes roaring round there, hits the front wheel, and he is taking a big hit. He seems to be okay. Obviously, they'll check him out in hospital, but he was really rattled around in the car there. Big
taken to hospital, of course, so we all wish him well. Fantastic race in terms of entertainment quality, but a real black mark from my point of view, Formula One going there without the correct tyres.
Embarrassing, Jim, and they've got to get their house in order, and they've got to have a second wet tyre available with a deeper tread.
OK, the Formula One circuit comes to Europe now. It is the San Marino Grand Prix at Imola in a couple of weeks' time. Watch the first qualifying session here on ITV1, 11:40 on the Friday night. The second qualifying, we go live at that 12:40 on the Saturday. The race live, big build-up pre-race show just after midday and highlights just after midnight. Right, we head to Europe after 3 absolute thrillers in Australia, in Malaysia and Brazil. Hard luck stories for Barrichello and Giancarlo Fisichella. But come rain or shine, the Iceman Raikkonen is the man of the moment. Good night.
Formula One on ITV, sponsored by Toyota.